Hi everyone, we're going to be making Gambas al Ajillo today. Now traditionally this is made with paprika, sherry, and a red chili pepper that's dried. But I'm going to be using jalapeños, lemon, garlic, salt, parsley, a pound of shrimp, and olive oil. And this dish is something that my parents kind of adapted to their style because they like it spicier. So I'm starting off with my jalapenos. I'm using two and I'm thinly slicing them. You can use one if you don't want it to be too spicy, or use two and just de-seed them. I like it spicy, so the point of this specific recipe is to have it be a little bit spicier. So I'm using the stem so that I can scrape it off of my knife, and I do this so that my hands don't get spicy. I think it's an easier and convenient way. I'm going to use half of a lemon and cutting it into 4 pieces. One of these pieces I'll use at the end, and then the others are for people to use on their shrimp. I'm wrapping my other half of the lemon with beeswax. It keeps it fresh for a long time, and I can reuse the wrap instead of throwing away saran wrap. So I'm starting off with my garlic, and I'm going to unpeel them and then mince it. If you have a garlic press, go ahead and use it because I do want this one to be very fine. If you don't have one, just take your time and finely chop your garlic. I'd like it to be more fine for this recipe so it blends in better and then the flavors of the garlic come out more. You can feel free to use 3 to 4 garlic pieces. I feel like 2 is the perfect touch. It has that garlic flavor without being overpowering. So next we're going to work with the parsley. I'm using fresh parsley for this recipe. If you don't have it, or if you feel like I'm not going to use this whole bunch of parsley this whole week, go ahead and use dry parsley. I'm using about a tablespoon of fresh parsley, so if you're going to use dry, I would just use half of a tablespoon. And we're going to stick this in at the end so that it remains green and fresh. And same with your dry parsley, you would still want to do that right at the very end. I'm not chopping this super fine, I'm just giving it a rough chop so that it's not full on leaves. Those 2 that I left behind are really just for garnish. So this should just take you a few minutes. And just quickly, just roughly chop it. I'm putting it all together because I just like to keep everything in one place. So next we're going to work on the shrimp. So I asked Publix to devein it for me, but I did keep the skin and tail on it. And what I'm going to do is just unskin them, but keep the tails on because I aesthetically like it more with the tail, but I don't like the skin. And Publix does have shrimp where you can have it completely peeled with no tails, but I feel like they're usually smaller, and those ones are typically the farmed shrimp, and I prefer just whatever is caught already and not farmed. But it's great that Publix does all of this for you as well. So this dish we learned how to make in Spain, and like I said at the beginning, it's typically made with a dried red pepper, but I like it spicy, so my dad adopted this style of doing it. So I am going to heat up about a tablespoon of olive oil, and I'm going to put in the garlic to saute. I'm not sauteing it for long, and the reason why is because we're going to cook the shrimp in 2 batches. You don't want to overcrowd the pan, so that's why we're going to do it in 2 batches. I did a pound, so depending on how big your pan is, you're probably going to have to do it in 2 batches. So I'm going to put in the jalapenos as well, and again, just a quick saute I'm not going to take long because I don't want the garlic and the jalapenos to burn. I used about a teaspoon of salt, but please use however much salt that you like, so salt to taste. So as you see, I'm accommodating all of the shrimp on here so it doesn't overcrowd and it cooks evenly. You're going to cook each side for about 2 to 3 minutes. So after 2 minutes, go ahead and flip it over and cook the other side for 2 to 3 minutes. I usually just I time it, but I also see how it's curling up and how the color is going. So this recipe, again, we learned it in Spain. My family and I were eating at this restaurant called Romerijo, and I remember asking for more pepper because I didn't think it was spicy. My family does like to make spicy dishes, so when I saw the pepper, I was so excited, but it wasn't spicy at all. So my dad, when we got home, he was like, oh, I'm going to make this and I'm going to make it spicier. So he made this recipe, and it's always a hit. It's a great tapas that you can make if you have guests over. If you're going to do it as a tapas plate, then this would serve about 6 people. We had this for dinner, and this was just for my husband and I, and we ate it all. So depending on how hungry you are or how many people you have over, it's just a really great quick dish. And during the week, I like to make things very fast, so this is a great weeknight meal or even a quick Sunday meal. So as you see, I'm already taking out the first batch of shrimp, and you'll notice that the garlic isn't sticking to the pan and it hasn't gotten overly browned or anything like that. The jalapenos are still nice and green, and I'm just going to go ahead and put in the rest of the shrimp. I'm just very careful to make sure that they all have a good space between them and they're not overcrowded. So it's really important with this dish is just quickly cooking everything, not burning anything, and not overcooking your shrimp, because when you overcook it, they get very rubbery, and that's not really good texture. But you also don't want to undercook shrimp either. So just be very careful, just watch it, make sure that your heat isn't too high. I've been cooking this on a medium-low heat, and then I actually turn it off pretty quickly. So we finished cooking both batches, and I put in the last batch that I made, and I'm putting in the parsley now. And I'm just going to give it a quick stir, and like you saw, I just turn off the heat, and we're going to move it to the next side of the stove so that it doesn't keep cooking. So just giving it a quick toss, and then you're set. It should take you about 10 minutes total to cook all of this. And I made a baguette for this. So in Spain, we would have the Gambas al Ajillo with some bread on the side. So I like that tradition. I keep it because it's really nice to dip your bread in the olive oil. The garlic, the jalapenos, everything just tastes so good when you dip your bread in it. So I cut this up, and this is a bread that I made from scratch. It was really fun to make. I'm really enjoying making bread, so hopefully one of these days I'll get a video up of that soon. So once you have that all set up, just go ahead and plate it and serve it. I am going to go ahead and put some lemon on the shrimp before I serve it though. So just one of those little wedges, just sprinkle it all over, and then everybody else can have some lemon as well. But I really hope that you enjoyed the video, and please let me know if you make it. I really would like to see how it goes for you.